Good morning, everyone. Trina here. So I thought we would pick back up on the Angelic Origins of Soul by Tricia McCannon. And like I said, beautiful, amazing book. So much information. I won't be reading all of it, but I'm going to read a lot of it and parts of it that are, I think, important that we need to look at together. There's 16 levels of heaven. They discuss the different belief systems in the realms of hell. So I think these are all things that we need to look at. Like I said, be careful what comes into your consciousness. All of this information can help you remember, but it can also activate energies that can stick with you. So be careful of what goes into the consciousness. So always process information and let it digest in you the way it's going to, and only adopt into yourself that which resonates very strongly with a very powerful vibration of joy or knowing. So when you get into those alignments with those frequencies, embrace them, because that message is for you. So we're all in different stages of our learning process. So I've been digesting a lot of this information for well over 30 years, and it's taken me a long time to find my balance and my core. And I think that's what we're all trying to do, because we all are a different part of the anchoring. All of our different knowledge, abilities, gifts, differences, this truly is the fullness of us as a collective whole. So I think by looking at all of these different theologies and religions and aspects of our history, I think that we can come into a fuller understanding of who we are as human beings. So with that, I will start with the Isles of the Blessed. And this is chapter 4. And it says, life is eternal, and love is immortal, and death is only a horizon, and a horizon is nothing save the limit of our sight. Anonymous. So let us look now at the evidence for the communication of the soul after death. To discover this, we must take a look at the landscapes of heaven. To find out what both ancient and modern accounts tell us about this paradise. Like many people today, the ancient world believed in the concept of heaven and hell, as well as the many other intermediate zones or bardos. They lie between these two. Unlike what is taught by the patriarchal religions, which claim that this in-between state is a permanent place, the ancient sages knew that these dimensions are only temporary abodes for the soul, just as our lives on earth are only temporary. This world of shining light, known as heaven, has been called by many other names: the far country, the summerlands, Shambhala, Valhalla, the New Jerusalem, Avalon. In Hindu, it is known as Svarga, I believe is how they say that. In the land of the Devas, it is known as the Shining Land. This is especially a guarded place in the higher octaves of the mental plane, where all sorrow and evil are vanquished by the great spiritual intelligence that oversees all human evolution. It is a place inhabited by human beings who have attained a level of purity that lifts them from the world of conflict into a new next few chapters. And then we will continue these remarkable stories of people who have traveled into these celestial realms and have visited the realms of the afterlife. The Greeks called heaven the Elysian Fields. The Elysian Fields were a vast paradisiacal land of the western margins of earth, encircled by a stream called Oceanus, which may be another name for the great cosmic sea. This vibrant land, which glows with light, is reserved for only the good, pure, and noble, similar to the modern-day near-death accounts, or NDEs. The deceased soon meets with his or her loved ones on the other side. They will take up a residence in a beautiful pastoral countryside. The Elysian Fields are the immortal lands of bliss, where those who have lived good lives of goodness are transported without ever having to taste the bitter sting of death. This realm is identical to the fields of reeds in the Egyptian cosmology, a paradise of shady trees, magical forests, and pastoral gardens, all blooming in a perpetual season of spring. Here, souls experience friendship, joy, peace, and love without heartache, pain, struggle, and what we know all so well in the physical world. The echoes of this famous 19th century folk song compares our world with this celestial one. I am a poor wayfaring stranger, traveling through this world of woe, and there is no sickness, toil, or danger in the bright world which I may go. I am going home to meet my Father. I am going there no more to roam. I am just going over the Jordan. I am going home. I know dark clouds will gather round me. I know the way is rough and steep, but golden fields lie out before me, where God's Redeemer shall ever sleep. I am going home to see my mother. She said she'd meet me when I come. I am only going over Jordan. I am only going over home. The Greeks believed that this paradoxical realm was ruled by the Titan known as Kronos, the father of Zeus, whose name symbolizes time. The word chronometer comes from Kronos. Thus he represents a vast cycle of time through which the soul must pass in many cycles of life, death, and rebirth. This is the wheel of karma, where each soul is transformed, giving multiple chances to perfect his or her inner nature. As its ruler, Kronos has the ability to allow us to view our past and our future incarnations, as well as how to suspend time. Like most cultures, the Greeks believed that the soul is judged at the end of every lifetime, and the decider of one's fate is the wise king, Rhadamanthia, similar to Osiris in Egypt, Jesus in Christianity, and the Hindu god Yama, the god of death. The Greeks believed, I messed that one up. The Rahadamanthas was said to have been the son of Zeus and Europa, the god of the sky and the goddess of the earth, a merger of this male and female cosmic force that rules over the universe. Neoplatonic teaches Lucian of Samosata depicts Rhadamanthas as presiding over a company of heroes on the Isle of the Blessed. In this epic poem, the Aeneid, Virgil reports that Radamathius was a judge in the Tartarus section of the underworld. In Homer's epic poem, The Odyssey, we read, "The immortals will send you to the Eleusinian plains, at the end of the earth, where the fair-haired Radamathias is. Their life is supremely easy for men. No snow there, nor ever heavy winter storm, nor rain, and the ocean is ever sending gusts of the clear-blowing west wind to bring the coolness to men." Pindar, the ancient Greek poet, writes how each soul stands before the judge of the dead before being sentenced to its fate. And those who have 3 times kept their oath, keeping their souls clean and pure, never letting their hearts be defiled by taint of evil and injustice and barbaric venality, they are led by Zeus to the end, to the place of Kronos, where soothing breezes off the ocean breathe over the Isles of the Blessed. Plutarch claims Radamatha married Adriani, the spinner of the red thread of fate. Interesting, the red thread of fate. We see the red string tied around the wrist of the people who believe in Kabbalah. I just saw that in my mind when I read that. So there must be some type of a correlation to this. The red string around the wrist of the Kabbalah believers and the red thread of life that controls the fate of our destiny. Ariadne was the daughter of King Minos of Crete, the princess who helped the hero Theseus escape from the Minotaur in the underground labyrinth. In the language of the mysteries, these stories signify a deeper truth. Theseus, like us, must escape from the labyrinth of our ever-repeating cycles of reincarnation. So the labyrinth is the limitless repeating cycles of incarnation. I have always wondered what the labyrinth was the representation of. And this is seeming to explain that it's getting out of the maze of reincarnation. To do this, we must each conquer our own animal nature, symbolized by the Minotaur. This way we do this is by aligning with the goddess who holds the red thread of fate, a symbol of our higher destiny. By following her towards a higher purpose or a higher goal, we escape the sevenfold labyrinth of the lower worlds, becoming free of the wheel of time. The number 7 is very significant in all esoteric traditions, for it symbolizes not only the 7 chakra energy bodies that we must master, but also the 7-dimensional realms of the time-space locus. The fields of asphodel. The Greeks taught that between each lifetime the soul visits a sacred meadow called the fields of asphodel, or the asphodel meadows. This meadow was named after a lovely white 6-petal flower associated with the mourning of the dead. This small flower is a diminutive version of the six-petal lily that we use on Easter today. It is much like the night-blooming jasmine. Like the lily, its 6 petals reminds us of the Merkabah and the field we use to travel into the higher realms. This flower, like the lily, was thought to be a symbol of rebirth. The asphodel meadows acted as a magical borderland of neutrality between heaven and earth. It was said that in this meadow were 2 pathways, one that led upward to the Elysian fields or heaven, and the other that led downward into the realms of Hades. The Greeks believed that at the time of death, the soul journeyed there, taking the path that was most appropriate to the life that was lived. The soul also returned to these meadows when it was ready to come back to earth to begin a new life. The Tibetan Buddhists called this intermediate state the bardo, or the plain. This is a picture of the 6-petaled flower. The term bardo, from the Sanskrit Anattarabhava, means transitional state, the in-between state, and the liminal state. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Okay, so it refers to it being an intermediate dimensional between the earthly life and the other dimensions. In Homer's epic, the Odyssey of the poet relates to the story of how Odysseus sailed beyond the dawn sky to the edge of the earth, finally arriving at a place where the sun never shines. There Odysseus entered a misty meadow filled with asphodel flowers, the 6-petaled flowers, a grove of trees, and the junction of 2 rivers. Odysseus suddenly realized that he had arrived at the fields of asphodel, the gateway of the other world. This is the decision point of the afterlife for the soul. In Greek cosmology, the soul returns to these meadows before each new lifetime. There it has a choice to drink from one of the 2 ponds, the river of Lethe or the pool of Mnemosyne. Lethe is the pool of forgetfulness, while Mnemosyne is the pool of remembrance. Orphic mysteries claim that less aware souls drink from the river of Lethe, choosing amnesia before every lifetime, while the initiates are taught to drink from the pool of Mnemosyne, thus retaining the memory of who they are from lifetime to lifetime, as well as their purpose entering in each new lifetime. I wonder if I drank from that one, because I have memory of lifetimes before I came here, and I have memories of me being in these fields, in this in-between place, waiting to return to earth. And I remembered when I was called to come back into earth, I didn't want to go. I wanted to stay where I was, because it was a very happy place. And I was so joy. There's none of the density here. There's none of the pain. It was a beautiful place, and I remember this place. And it truly is. It's what we are. So, we would remember from lifetime to lifetime, as well as the purpose entering in each new lifetime. And my purpose, they told me, was to come here to be like Jesus, which was an icon that we could know its purpose and its meaning. So they were like, you came here to be like Jesus. Not saying, oh, you're going to be like God, or any of this stuff. It wasn't that way at all. It was like, you come here to be like Jesus, and you, with many others, will become the walking Christ through an activation of seed cell memory that is inside of us. And our task is to find these codes and to find these memories and reawaken them within ourselves. So, while today all of this might seem like fanciful mythology, what it reveals about our ancestors is their knowledge of the many-dimensional planes of the inner worlds, especially the lower, middle, and higher registers of the astral planes, reported by many near-death experiencers. As we shall discover all of these various levels are dimensions within the astral plane known as the Kimaloka, and it is our state of consciousness that determines where in the astral plane we will go upon our death. While many of these realms are places of peace, joy, and light, there are also yet the lower planes of heaven that the soul can visit. Next, we go into the landscapes of hell. I will get into that. And the landscapes of hell, in the beginning, it says, the soul does not go to one of the regions of the heavens, then it might wind up in the underworld, a place also known as Hades, hell, or Acherion. This is where we get the modern world hell today, lamenting the fate of those who are consigned there. Plato writes, to go to the worlds below, having a soul which is like a vessel full of injustice. It is the last and the worst of all the evils. The Tibetan Buddhism names 6-dimensional planes or lokas that the soul might incarnate into, the 6 of which are considered to be the realms of samsara, or suffering. There are the realms of the gods, the realm of the demigods, the realms of the humans, the realms of the animals, the realms of the great pretas, or the hungry ghost, and then the hell realm. Each of these realms has access to either suffering or pleasure, except the human realm, which has an equal amount of each, and is thus believed to be conductive to the future spiritual growth. In their illustrated commentary in the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the students of Eastern spirituality, Stephen Hodge and Martin Broward, note, an excess of suffering prevents people from either ever giving up thought to anything else, since their minds are overwhelmed by pain, while an excess of comfort and happiness dulls the mind and gives no motivation for change. These 6 lokas can be seen as embodying 6 physiological states, given that the Buddhist idea is that all things are shaped into form by the mind. The mind. It's all about what we think. This is the 6-petaled matrix of life that they are showing. Amazing. Seems to always, when we're talking about this realm and this construct, it seems to me that we keep looking at the 6. God created the world in 6 days. He rested on the 7. It looks to me like the soul incarnates in groups of 6, like a flower. 6 pods, 6 petals, 6 souls. So there's something to this 6. 6 is also sex. Sex is hex. There's something to this. So I think the sex creates the 6. And that's what I keep seeing. So there must be something to this. The sex creates the 6. So, or the six creates the sex. I don't know, but something's with this. So, okay. So, the six lokas can be seen as embodying psychological states, given that the Buddhist idea is still that all things are shaped and formed by the mind. They go on to say that it is a predominance of any one particular type of negative result that would result in rebirth in the most appropriate mode. Thus, pride leads to rebirth as a god, jealousy as a demigod, attachment as a human being, stupidity as an animal, greed as a hungry ghost, and hatred as a hell denizen. In the Theosophical and Hindu teachings, these lokas, or dimensions, exist at higher and lower frequencies, providing steps of consciousness for each soul's spiritual evolution. These are the various lokas, or the dimensions, where the soul takes birth and requires experience. However, just as our own realm, the time that a soul spends in these dimensions is limited. Whether it be 100 years or 1,000. At the center of these six lokas lies paradise, the Buddhist nirvana, the holy of holies, the far country, the summer lands, or bliss, the central realm of heaven, looking very much like the petals of a flower, like the petals of the flower of life. The six lokas, or planes of incarnation, sit around it. This plane of shining light is thought by most spiritual traditions to be the highest realm that the soul can attain throughout its many incarnations, for this is where our soul's eternal essence dwells in its angelic form. Even while another part of us is taking birth in the worlds below. This is exactly what I have been shown, that my angelic self is in the astral realms currently, right now. And it is very conscious. It is very much aware of myself, of this body, as I am not aware of it as much as it is aware of me. So I have seen this, that you have your super twin in the heavenly realms, and it never leaves. It is always there. This is your two witnesses. One is the flesh, the other is your angelic twin. So, okay. So, even though the soul can attain many things through its many incarnations, for this is where our soul's eternal essence dwells in its angelic form, is in the astrals. Even while another part of us is taking birth in the worlds below. The realms that we call hell is a lower region of the astral plane. It is a land of darkness, gloom, black houses, black roads, black holes in the earth. The Hebrew name for this region is Sheol, a place of negative self-delusion and destruction, where the soul is so lost in its shadow that the light from the higher realms cannot break through. Wow. They can't break through. Interesting. This is because these souls have imprisoned themselves with dark thought forms through their own choice. Sheol is thus a self-created prison that does not allow us to feel the love around us. In this delusionary realm, we are not in touch with the light within. So, of course, it feels cold and bleak, forlorn and hopeless until we are willing to turn into the light. Then our guides can pull us upwards into the higher realms. Oh, that's so funny. When I see that, I see the souls that are in the darkened places. And I literally see the song being sung in my mind. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. And if you see another soul that doesn't have its light shining inside of it, show it yours. And then remind it that what lives within me lives within you. And if you can see my light, then that means that you have light within you as well. So see my light and emanate yours and help them to let that light grow, to grow within them, because it's the same as yours. And that's how we will save many of those who are lost or trapped in the realms. I have memory of retrieving souls from this Bardo place. And they won't come unless they're ready. And they won't come because they're scared. So you need to be the light in the darkness for the souls that just simply forgot that they are that light too. So I love you guys. I'm going to pick up on this, on more of the Hell Realms on the next video. We're getting kind of a little lengthy here, about 31 minutes. So I will see you on the next one. I hope you guys like this information. I think it's profound because it resonates with what I've always known in my soul. And sometimes these things are hard to put into words. But tools like these really help to get a deeper understanding of the gnosis that was already within me. So I love you guys. Have a beautiful Sunday. It's my mom's birthday, so I might go and have some birthday time with my mom today. But if I have time, I might read some more. But I just wanted to say, happy day. I love you all, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.